There is a moment in every spring when a Cub Scout journey comes to an end and a new adventure begins. For many Webelos Scouts, it is the Arrow of Light ceremony. It is a moment to celebrate everything they have accomplished, the adventures they have completed, the skills that they have learned, the campouts they have attended, and the friendships that they have built. But the Arrow of Light is not just a recognition of what has happened. It is a bridge to what comes next. Because in just a few months, those same Scouts will put on a Scouts BSA uniform for the first time. They will join a troop. They will meet new leaders and new friends. And for many of them, they will experience their first Scouts BSA summer camp. That transition can be exciting, but it can also feel a little overwhelming. For the Scouts, there are new experiences waiting, new traditions, new responsibilities, and new opportunities for growth. For parents, there are questions. Is my Scout ready? What will change? How much help should I provide? What should I expect? And for leaders, there's an important responsibility, helping these Scouts feel welcome, prepared, and confident as they take their next step in scouting. But the journey to summer camp does not begin on the first day of camp. It begins months earlier with conversations, preparation, encouragement, and a community of Scouts and Scouters helping the next generation discover what scouting has to offer. In this episode, we are going to explore that journey, from Webelos to Scouts, from Cub Scout camping to Scouts BSA resident camp, and from being a Cub Scout family to being part of a Scouts BSA troop, because the road to summer camp begins now. Welcome to Meet Me at the Grizz, a podcast about scouting, summer camp, and the experiences that create memories that last a lifetime. I'm your host, Ken Clough. Whether you're a Scout, a parent, a volunteer leader, or someone who simply believes in the power of the scouting experience, this podcast explores the traditions, stories, and lessons that make camp such an important part of the journey. So now, let's head back to camp. The Arrow of Light, the bridge between two adventures. For many Scouts, the Arrow of Light ceremony represents a very important moment in their scouting journey. It is a celebration of everything they have accomplished as Cub Scouts. It represents years of adventures, den meetings, pack activities, camping experiences, and friendships that have been built along the way. The Arrow of Light is the highest rank in Cub Scouting, and earning it is something to be proud of. It recognizes that a Scout has learned important skills, worked with others, and developed confidence through their Cub Scout experience. But the Arrow of Light is also something more. It is a bridge. It is a connection between the Cub Scout experience that a Scout knows and the Scouts BSA adventure that is waiting for them. Sometimes when we talk about crossing over, we focus on the change. The new uniform, the new troop, the new expectations, and those things are certainly part of the transition. But it is important to remember that a Scout is not starting over. They are bringing everything they have already learned with them. A Scout who crosses over has already learned how to work with others. They have learned how to participate in a group. They have learned outdoor skills. They have learned how to solve problems, to try new things, and to overcome challenges. Those experiences matter. They are the foundation for what comes next. And that is an important message for both Scouts and parents to remember. Crossing over into Scouts BSA does not mean that a Scout is expected to already know everything. They are not expected to understand every tradition, skill, or every responsibility on the first day. That is the purpose of Scouts BSA, to continue learning and growing. Every experienced Scout was once a first-year Scout. Every Scout who confidently leads a patrol, teaches a new skill, or helps a younger Scout at camp was once the Scout wondering where to go, what to do, and how things worked. The transition from Cub Scouts to Scouts BSA is not about being ready for everything. It's about being ready to begin. And that's what makes the Arrow of Light such an important moment. It's not the end of a Scout's journey. It's the doorway to the next adventure. From Cub Scout camp to Scouts BSA residence camp, the next adventure. One of the most exciting parts of this tradition is that many Scouts are not experiencing camping for the first time. They have already begun that journey. Many Webelos and Arrow of Light Scouts have participated in packed camping trips. They may have attended Webelos Adventures, weekend campouts, or even Cub Scout resident camp. Those experiences are incredibly important. Cub Scout camping introduces Scouts to the outdoors. It helps them become comfortable sleeping away from home. It teaches them how to work together, participate in activities, and experience the excitement of being at camp. For many Scouts, Cub Scout resident camp is one of their first opportunities to experience what a few days at camp feels like. They learn that camp is more than just a place. It is a community. It is a place where they make friends, or try new things, and discover that they can do things they may not have thought possible. And then comes the next step, Scouts BSA resident camp. While it builds on everything they've already experienced, it also introduces new opportunities. The Scouts begin to take more ownership of the experience. They become part of a patrol. They spend more time learning from older Scouts. They begin participating in troop traditions. They take on more responsibility for their own equipment, their schedule, and their decisions. The experience feels different because the role of the Scout is changing. In Cub Scouting, adults often create many of the experiences. Leaders organize activities, parents provide support, and families often participate together. In Scouts BSA, the Scout begins to step forward. They are encouraged to lead. They are encouraged to make decisions. They are encouraged to learn from both their successes and their mistakes. And summer camp is one of the best places for all of that growth to happen. A Scouts BSA resident camp experience allows a new Scout to see what being part of a troop really means. They begin to understand that Scouting is not just about completing requirements or attending meetings. It's about belonging. It is about becoming part of something larger than themselves. So when a Webelos or Arrow of Light Scout thinks about their first Scouts BSA summer camp, it is important to remember this. They are not walking into something completely unfamiliar. They are continuing a journey they have already started. The campouts, the adventures, and the experience they had as Cub Scouts have all been preparing them for this next step. Scouts BSA resident camp is not the beginning of the journey. It is the next chapter. For the new Scout, your first summer camp adventure. For a Scout crossing over from Cub Scouts to Scouts BSA, the first summer camp experience is a big moment. It is exciting. It is something many Scouts have looked forward to for years, but it can also come with a lot of questions. Will I know anyone? Will I be able to do everything? Will I make a mistake? What if I get homesick? Those are all normal questions. Every Scout who has ever walked into their first Scouts BSA summer camp has had some of those same thoughts. The important thing to remember is that summer camp is not a test to see if you are already an experienced Scout. Summer camp is where you become one. That is one of the special things that makes Scouting and summer camp so special. You are not expected to arrive knowing everything. You are expected to arrive ready to learn. At camp, you will learn from the people around you. You will learn from your Scoutmaster and other adult leaders. You will learn from your fellow Scouts. And perhaps most importantly, you will learn from the older Scouts in your troop. These older Scouts are once exactly where you are now. They were the new Scout walking into camp for the first time. They were learning where things were, figuring out troop traditions, meeting new people, and discovering what it meant to be part of a patrol. They now have the opportunity to help you. That is one of the greatest traditions of Scouts BSA. Scouts helping Scouts. Your first summer camp will introduce you to many of these new experiences. You may try activities you have never done before. You may learn skills you did not know you could learn. You may discover a new interest or find something you are passionate about. You may also have moments that challenge you. Maybe something doesn't go exactly as planned. Maybe you need to solve a problem. Maybe you have to step outside your comfort zone. Those moments are not failures. Those moments are where growth happens. Scouting is designed to help you become more confident, more capable, and more independent. So, as you prepare for your first summer camp as a Scout, remember a few things. Ask questions. Be willing to try. Meet new people. Learn from others. And do not be afraid to be new. Every great Scout was once a new Scout. Your first summer camp is not about proving what you already know. It's about discovering what you are capable of learning. For parents, helping your Scout take the next step. While the Scout is experiencing this transition, parents are experiencing one as well. For many families, Cub Scouting has been a very hands-on experience. Parents have attended meetings. They have helped with activities. They have organized events. They have worked on projects. They have helped make the Cub Scout experience happen. And that involvement is one of the things that makes Cub Scouting so special. But as a Scout crosses over into Scouts BSA, the relationship begins to change. The goal is not for parents to step away. The goal is for Scouts to step forward. Scouts BSA is designed to help young people develop confidence and independence. That means Scouts begin taking more ownership of their experience. They learn to make decisions. They learn to accept responsibility. They learn to solve problems. They learn from their successes, and they learn from their mistakes. And sometimes that transition can be difficult for parents, because the instinct of every parent is to help. When your child struggles, you want to step in. When your child forgets something, you want to fix it. When your child is uncomfortable, you want to make things easier. That comes from a good place. But one of the greatest gifts we can give young people is the opportunity to discover that they can handle challenges themselves. Summer camp is one of those places where that growth happens. Parents often have questions about the first Scouts BSA summer camp experience. Will my Scout be ready? What if they have never been away from home? What if they get homesick? What if they need help? Those are all reasonable questions. But remember, your Scout has already been preparing for this moment. The Cub Scout camping experiences, the Arrow of Light journey, and the transition into Scouts BSA have all been steps toward greater independence. The role of parents is not to remove every challenge. It is to provide encouragement, support, and confidence. It is saying, I believe you can do this. I know this is something new, but you are ready. I'm excited to see what you discover. One of the most important things parents can do during this transition is learn alongside their Scout. Attend troop meetings, ask questions, talk to leaders, understand what summer camp will look like. The more familiar the experience becomes for parents, the more confident their Scout will feel. Because the first summer camp as a Scout is not just a week away from home. It is a step toward independence. And parents play an important role in helping their Scouts take that step. For parents becoming leaders, your Scouting journey is changing too. There is another transition that often happens during crossover that we do not always talk about. Sometimes the person crossing over is not just the Scout. Sometimes it is the parent. Many parents begin their Scouting journey when their child joins Cub Scouts. They volunteer because they want to help. They become a den leader, an assistant den leader, a pack volunteer, or simply the person who says, I can help with that. Over the years, Those parents become an important part of the Cub Scout experience. They help organize activities. They help plan events. They help create opportunities for Scouts to learn and grow. They may have helped with the Pinewood Derby, campouts, service projects, blue and gold banquets, and the countless other moments that make Cub Scouting memorable. Then, their Scout crosses over into Scouts BSA. And sometimes the parent crosses over too. They may join the troop committee. They may become an assistant Scoutmaster. They may continue as a volunteer in a different role. And this transition can be just as much of a learning experience for the adult as it is for the Scout, because Scouts BSA is different. The role of the adult changes. In Cub Scouting, adults often create the experience. They organize the activities. They provide direction. They help make sure things happen. In Scouts BSA, the goal is different. Scouts lead. Adults support. The Scout-led model is one of the things that makes Scouts BSA unique. It gives young people the opportunity to practice leadership, make decisions, and learn from experience. That does not mean adults are less important. In fact, adult leaders are incredibly important. But the role changes from doing things for Scouts to helping Scouts learn to do things for themselves. A great Scouts BSA leader is not necessarily the person who knows every answer or who has the most experience. A great leader is someone who creates opportunities for Scouts to learn. Someone who asks questions instead of immediately providing solutions. Someone who allows Scouts to try, even when they may not do something exactly the way an adult would, because that is where growth happens. The first Scouts BSA summer camp can be a learning experience for new adult leaders as well. You may be entering a new environment with new traditions, new expectations, and a different leadership structure. You may wonder, how much should I help? When should I step in? What is my role? These are all good questions. And the answer is that you do not have to know everything on the first day. Just like Scouts are learning, leaders are learning too. Scouting is a journey for adults as well as youth. One of the things that makes summer camp so powerful is that it provides a compressed learning experience. Just as camp helps Scouts grow in confidence and independence, it also helps new leaders understand their role and discover how they can be the best support for young people. The best Scouts BSA leaders are not the ones who do everything. They are the ones who help Scouts become capable of doing things themselves. For Scout leaders and den leaders, preparing Scouts for the journey ahead. For Cub Scout leaders and den leaders, the Arrow of Light year is an important time. Your work is not finished when the badge is earned or when the crossover ceremony is complete. In many ways, that is when the next part of the journey begins. You have already helped these Scouts take their first steps into Scouting. You have helped them learn new skills. You have helped them build friendships. You have helped them experience the outdoors. Many of you have taken these Scouts camping. You may have taken them on packed campouts. You may have attended Webelos adventures. You may have brought them to Cub Scout resident camp. These experiences mattered. You helped them learn that they can sleep away from home. You helped them become comfortable outdoors. You helped them discover that camp is a place where they belong. Now, another adventure awaits. Scouts BSA Residence Camp. The experience will feel familiar, but it will also be different. There will be more responsibility. There will be more independence. There will be more opportunities for Scouts to make decisions and take ownership. The best thing Cub Scout leaders can do is help Scouts approach that transition with confidence. Help them understand what is changing. Help them understand what will remain the same. Help them see the excitement of what is ahead. Some actions Cub Scout leaders can take include: encourage Webelos and Arrow of Light Scouts to visit troops. Help families understand the Scouts BSA experience. Connect Scouts with older Scouts who can answer questions. Talk positively about summer camp. and share stories about the adventures waiting for them. One of the greatest gifts a Cub Scout leader can give a Scout is confidence. Confidence that they are ready, confidence that they belong, and confidence that they can take the next step. For Scouts BSA leaders, welcoming Scouts before they arrive. For Scouts BSA leaders, the transition begins before crossover. The first impression a Scout has of Scouts BSA may happen months before they officially join the troop. It may happen at a troop meeting. It may happen during a visit. It may happen when an older Scout takes time to answer questions. Those moments matter. New Scouts are looking for signs that they belong. They want to know, will I fit in? Will I know anyone? Will people help me? Will this be a place where I can grow? Scouts BSA leaders can help answer those questions before a Scout ever arrives at summer camp. Invite Webelos and Arrow of Light Scouts to participate. Introduce them to youth leaders. Let older Scouts share their experiences. Allow them to see what troop life is really like. And perhaps, most importantly, welcome their families. Parents are also making a transition. They need to understand the Scouts BSA experience, the role of youth leadership, and what to expect from the troop. A strong crossover is not just about getting Scouts to join a troop. It's about helping Scouts feel that they are already part of the troop. Because when a new Scout arrives at summer camp, the goal is not for them to feel like a visitor. The goal is for them to feel like they belong. Planning for summer camp starts now. As we have talked about throughout this episode, the first Scouts BSA summer camp experience does not begin when a Scout arrives at camp. It begins now. It begins with conversations. It begins with preparation. It begins with helping Scouts and families understand what this next adventure will look like. One of the reasons new experiences can feel overwhelming is because they are unfamiliar. But when we understand what is ahead, that uncertainty begins to turn into excitement. For Scouts, this is a time to start thinking about what they want their first summer camp experience to be. Talk with your Scout leaders. Talk with older Scouts. Ask questions. Learn about the camp your troop attends. Think about the activities you want to try. Maybe there is a merit badge you have always been interested in. Maybe there is an outdoor skill you want to learn. Maybe there is something that feels a little outside your comfort zone. That is part of the adventure. Summer camp is a place where Scouts discover new interests and learn things about themselves. For parents, this is the time to become familiar with the experience. Attend troop meetings. Participate in parent information meetings. Talk with leaders. Understand the schedule, expectations, and what your Scout will be experiencing. The more comfortable parents become with this experience, the more confidence they can give their Scouts. And for leaders, planning begins well before the week of camp. Communicate early. Help families understand what to expect. Answer questions. Create excitement. A great summer camp experience is not something that happens by accident. It is built through preparation. It is built through communication. It is built through a community of Scouts and Scouters all working together. One of the things I have always appreciated about camp is that everyone arrives with different levels of experience. Some Scouts have been camping for years. Some Scouts may be experiencing their first week away from home. Some leaders may have decades of Scouting experience. Some may be attending their first troop summer camp. But camp has a way of bringing everyone together. Everyone begins somewhere. And that is what makes the journey so special. The important thing is to start. Start asking questions. Start planning. Start getting excited, because the road to summer camp begins now. The first summer camp is only the beginning. For a new Scout, that first summer camp is a milestone. It may be the first time they spend an entire week with their troop. It may be the first time they experience patrol life. It may be the first time they realize that they can do something that they were not sure they could do. And that is why summer camp is so much more than a place a scout goes. It is an experience that helps shape who they become. Years from now, scouts may not remember every meal they ate at camp. They may not remember every activity they participated in. They may not remember every requirement they completed, but they'll remember the moments that mattered. They will remember meeting new friends. They will remember sitting around a campfire. They will remember trying something new. They will remember overcoming a challenge. They will remember the feeling of being part of something bigger than themselves. That is the power of the scouting experience. The arrow of light opens the door. Crossing over begins the journey. And summer camp is often where a scout truly begins to understand what it means to be part of Scouts BSA. For the scout, this is a step toward independence. For the parent, it is a moment of trust. For the leader, it is an opportunity to shape the next generation of scouts. And for everyone involved, it is the beginning of new memories, new friendships, and new adventures. So if your scout is preparing to cross over from Webelos to Scouts BSA, start thinking about summer camp now. Ask questions, have conversations, get involved, because the best summer camp experiences are built long before the first tent is pitched. They begin with preparation, encouragement, and a community that helps every new scout feel ready for the adventure ahead. Thank you for joining me for this episode of Meet Me at the Grizz. I hope this conversation helped you see the transition from Webelos to Scouts BSA is about much more than changing uniforms or joining a new troop. It is about beginning a new chapter. It is about scouts discovering new opportunities. It is about parents learning when to step forward and when to step back. And it is about leaders creating an environment where every scout feels welcomed, supported, and ready for the next adventure ahead. If you know a family preparing for Arrow of Light and crossover, please share this episode with them. The more prepared scouts and families are, the better their first summer camp experience can be. If you enjoy Meet Me at the Grizz, please consider subscribing wherever you get your podcasts and sharing this show with another scout family or scouter. And if you're a listener of the podcast, I would love for you to be part of the Meet Me at the Grizz community. You can request a free 2026 listener decal at meetmeatthegrizz.com. Put it on your water bottle, your laptop, or wherever you want to show your connection to scouting and summer camp. For more stories about scouting, summer camp, and the experiences that create memories that last a lifetime, visit meetmeatthegrizz.com. Until next time, I hope to see you around the campfire. Thanks for listening.